Hey everybody, this is Brian Kyler from the Northeast Big Buck Club, and I'm really happy to introduce to you Gary Cunningham. Gary is the hunter who harvested this amazing Erie County mainframe 8-point that has 16 inches of non-typical growth. We'll go over all of the score of everything with the deer. Killed it this year during gun season, but Gary's going to tell us a little bit about this deer because he has a history with it. And we'll have him talk about his history, the hunt, and then we'll go over and we'll talk about the score of the deer. So Gary, tell us a little bit about your history with this deer that you had.
Okay, the first time I saw him was back in October of 2023. What happened is on the 8th of October, instead of going to church, it was on a Sunday. I was supposed to be in church, but I went down and started cleaning out some shooting lanes and stuff out of an old tree stand I had. Well, unfortunately, I had an accident. I fell, I broke my back and shattered my right ankle. And my season came to a complete stop. So after being in the hospital, rehab, I finally got out right before Halloween. And here it was a Saturday and it was about 56 degrees out, and my wife's like, come on, I'll take you out. And I had the back brace and ankle brace on, but I'll take you out to the patio to have coffee. So as we were out there, I looked across my property, across the creek about 80 yards away. I saw a doe standing there, and it was just minutes after that a buck come through. He was a small shooter buck. He had his nose to the ground, tail up in the air like a hound dog, and he went right up to her and circled around and continued down and looped, and then he come across within 30 yards of me and just headed back down the creek. A couple minutes later, there was a bigger one that come through. Same scenario, did the same exact thing. My wife's like, what is going on? I said, there's a doe that was in heat, and she traveled through here, so they're on them. And it was the third buck I saw was him. And he was a big mainframe 8, and his G1s, I mean, just by telling just how long his G1s were, that was this buck. And I saw him, and as fast as he came through with the other bucks, he was gone. And I was like totally blown away with him. Well, then the following year, put my trail cameras out, 2024, I got him as a nice mainframe 8, but he was a 12-point. And here he was totally nocturnal, would not show himself during the day. I hunted him hard, and no. I just had little bucks coming through, but not him. And same thing happened again this year. And every time I got out in the stand, and I was just seeing non-shooter bucks and a lot of does, but not this buck. And we nicknamed them, the neighbors, we nicknamed him Tiny because just how big he was. And finally, at the end of the season, archery season, I thought I was gonna be eating tag soup. So on opening day of rifle, I hunted that same property right where I got him the next day, but I ended up, I shot a doe, never got to see a buck. And I went back out Sunday morning and climbed up in this one tree stand, and I hunted most of the morning on this farm, and with the cold and the wind, didn't see a single deer. So I contacted the landowner. I told him there ain't no deer out here. I'm going home, taking a hot shower, calling it a day.
All right, so you went home, took a hot shower, and what happened? What happened next?
Well, I was decided I was not going to go back out because that weather, it was just cold and everything. So I just sat in my recliner, started watching TV, and out of the corner of my eye, I was watching deer crossing through my property, does, and I was like, no, I ain't not going back out. And then probably another 15, 20 minutes later, there's some more, and I'm like, okay. So I called the landowner, and I told him, I said, hey, why don't I'll be back down at your house. Let's go out to your cabin in the woods and we'll hunt the afternoon. So he agreed. So we sat there in the cabin maybe about a half hour, and we didn't see anything. So he decided he was going to go to he was going to go out to a tree stand. And I'm like, oh, I'll go up in the one that I put up in the red brush. And it was just a thick, gnarly area to hunt. And if you see something, it's going to be quick. So I went out to that stand. I climbed up in there. I was up there for a total about 20 minutes in that stand. And all of a sudden, I saw this doe come out of the red brush, and she was running. I picked up my rifle, I was gonna shoot her, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement, and I turned and I looked, and here was this buck here. He was tangled up into the red brush and the grapevines. So he'd launch forward, get tangled up, come back. He did that on a third try. That gave me enough time, and it was only 20 yards away. And I fired, and down he went. Well, I didn't realize this was my target buck that we nicknamed Tiny until I climbed out of the tree stand. And as I got out of the tree stand, got my way over there, because the way the logs and the brush were, I was like, holy cow, I shot my target buck. And the first thing I did is I went to call my wife, and I was shaking. I mean, buck fever. I mean, I was shaking so bad, I had a hard time trying to, call her. But once got a hold of her, she's like, did you shoot? And I said, yes, because this farm that I'm hunting is only a quarter mile down the road from our house. And I said, yes. I said, I shot Tiny. And she's like, no, you did not. And I said, yes, I did. She's like, holy cow. And from there on out, I mean, like I said, I thought for sure I was going to be eating tag soup this year. I did not expect to see him. I did not, Yep. So, I mean, it was 100% just being at the right place at the right time.
And it's
for him.
Sheer luck sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's show everybody what this is. So for those of you who are wondering, it is a mainframe 8-point. And as a mainframe 8-point, he goes 168 inches. And once you tally in all of the non-typical growth, you add an additional 16 inches. So on the right side alone, we have 27 and 6/8 inch main beam. We have a 5 4/8 inch G1, a 12 4/8 inch G2 with a kicker off the side, and we have a 9-inch G3. On the left side, we have a 28 7/8 inch main beam, a 4 7 inch G1, a 14 5/8 inch G2 with 3 non-typical points off of it, you can see, and then we have a 9 7/8 inch G3 over there, and again you can see we have a nice little non-typical kicker there. 20 2/8 inch inside spread for a grand total of 184 2/8. So you throw in that 16 inches of non-typical, we bumps them up over 180, which is an absolute giant. And again, PA's getting bigger bucks, bigger bucks, bigger bucks. When they can reach an older age class like this, and the history with him is him being an 8-point and blowing into a 12, and as you can see now, he's got stuff all over the place just because of his age. So, Gary, thank you for sharing this trophy with us. If you need a buck scored from Northeast Big Buck Club, you know how to get in touch with us. This is Brian Kyler from the Northeast Big Buck Club. God bless.